Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Elvis Junction Reviews. Today we're looking at another product from Scaletrains. This is the Scaletrains GE39-8 in Conrail number 605 with ditch lights. And this is a rivet counter and it has sound in it, so we're doing a sound demo, which is really cool. You can see this is in our lovely new Scaletrains box. So let's waste no time to get this open. I hope all of you are having a good day today. And as you can see, this box is a little... it's struggling with me right now, but there we go. Got it off. We have a piece of foam here, and there is our manual, which is this time vertical as opposed to the horizontal way that they used to do this in. As you can see, it has a bunch. Here's all our function charts for sound, so this will be very cool when we get into the sound demo. And there's our locomotive inside of its protective case. Let's slide it off here. Move that clamshell out of the way. Take that piece of foam off. Oops. Come here. Open up the clamshell, and you can see we have some spare roller bearings because these locomotives have roller bearings in them, which is really cool. And there it is. As you can see, we have some truck stabilizers, so we're going to yank those off without breaking anything, I hope. Let's move this off to the side. And get the foam out of the way. I should not be struggling to remove this foam. It should not be that difficult. All right, and as I clear the foam away, let us get into some history. And now on to some history. And our history here comes from the manual about the prototype. GE debuted its Dash 8 series in 1983. Featuring improvements to the FDL series prime mover and microprocessor controls, the Dash 8 line promised improved performance as well as improved reliability and maintainability over their Dash 7 predecessors. The C39-8s were purchased firsthand by both Conrail and Norfolk Southern. Now, that was what's in the history of the book. Now, what I can tell you is that these the C39-8s served Norfolk Southern Conrail venerably. They were very reliable. And when Conrail got split up, all of the Conrail assets were shared between CSX and Norfolk Southern. And unfortunately, a lot of them were scrapped. Some still exist today. They exist on the Pennsylvania Northeastern. I believe I'm correct. I'm saying that, and they are still running. And when you look at the looking at the actual look of the C39-8, it literally looks like a hybrid of a Dash 8 and a Dash 7 because it has the Dash 8 style radiator, but the cab of like a Dash 7 series, like the C30-7, with that curved cab roof as opposed to the angled roof of the actual Dash 8s that we're used to seeing, like the Dash 840Bs and the Dash 840CWs. But it also does have the nose of the Dash 8. And of course, this more extended hood area right here. But still, it's a beautiful looking locomotive, so let's waste not any time and get into some detail, starting with the front. Alrighty, so here we are looking at the front of the locomotive, and because this is a rivet counter locomotive, it's going to have a lot of detail. So, starting at the top and working our way down the bottom as we usually do, we have our forward mounted headlight right here, which does operate when the locomotive is in motion, as well as our number boards. Those light up as well, and we have our red marker lights. Those also do light up as well. We have separately applied windshield wipers for each window, one here, 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 and here. Here is our door to access the cab from the front of the locomotive. Going on to the nose, we have some grab irons right here and right here. You can't see them very well, but we will see them when we look at the roof. But there are 3 different sand filler hatches, one here, here, and here. We have more grab irons on the front of the nose as well. Our Conrail logo, which is obscured by the chain of the walkway. We have a walkway light right here. Here is our anti-climber right here, and actually as we focus in on the pilot of the locomotive, you can see the coupler cut bar. You can see our our low-mounted ditch lights, an MU hose right here, some MU outlets, 3 MU hoses on either side of the plow, an air brake hose, our coupler, and here is the snow plow. All right, so now let's look at some detail with the rear. Looking at the rear of the locomotive now, starting at the top here, we have a sand filler hatch. Working our way down here, you can see the rear headlight, which does operate. We have our grab irons that go from the top of the locomotive down to the bottom to the walkway there. We have another grab iron right here, another vertical grab iron right there. You can see our marker lights, one here and one here. Conrail logo, another walkway light right there, some handrails, coupler cut bar right here, MU hose right here, another MU outlet, our front and end knuckles, so our spare knuckles in case one breaks, you can fix them. Our coupler again right here, our MU hoses, 3 on either side, and an air brake hose. All right, so now let's look at some side detail. Looking at the side of the locomotive, starting at the front, we have a F to indicate that this is the front of the locomotive. We have some electrical boxes all along above the bogie. We have our number here, 6005 C39-8 below it, and this big L. Now, this is the first time I've actually noticed that L, and I'm not exactly sure what the L is for, so if somebody could please let me know, I would greatly appreciate it. We have our phenomenal truck detail down here, and as you can see, Scaletrains has begun to oxidize color their wheels, which I think is a pretty cool feature. Some people think it's a little overdone, some people think it's a little too bright, but I don't mind it regardless. You can see the sand pipes right here that help when the locomotive is struggling with traction. You throw sand on the rails and that gives the locomotive a more grip. And as you can see, we have a jack pad right here, and there's an air tank reservoir right there. As we move along here, you can see the great detail of the fuel tank right here. Up here is our Leslie RS3L horn, our Conrail can opener logo, and here we have the Conrail as well. Another air tank reservoir right here, and you can see the rolling end caps right there. There they are right there. As you can see, another jack pad right here, some illegible writing right here as well as right down here. We have some more writing right here. There's our exhaust stack. And by the way, you can see through. That is a see-through grate, which is one of the best things with Scaletrains. They really went out of their way to do that. Really, none of the other manufacturers do that, so I really love Scaletrains for doing that, and I think it is really cool. And you heard that little clicking noise? That is the sound of the sand hoses. They are a little finicky. They're actually kind of loose. As you can see, you can move around freely. That is a bit of a problem, especially when you're handling the locomotive in your hands. When it's on the layout, I'm sure it has no problems, but when you're actually handling and the bogies are allowed to kind of freely move with gravity, it can be a bit of an issue, and it kind of scares me. All right, but looking at the engineer's side of the locomotive, is also this locomotive is actually kind of heavy. I should keep in mind that. As you can see, we have our brake. There is our parking brake, as well as another grab iron that I also just realized is there. More electrical boxes, and there's a little illegible writing right there underneath the number, and there's another L. And there are also the rear view mirrors. They have been swung forward, which is very interesting. And you can see there's a little bit more detail right down here for the fuel tank. And there's a chain right here. So this locomotive is still just a really good looking locomotive. All right, so now let's move on to the roof. Looking at the roof of the locomotive, you will notice there are our sand filler hatches, one here, and one here. We have some antennas up on the top of the roof. We have a vent right here. Moving the locomotive forward, there is that Leslie RS3L horn, and there is the stack. You will notice that it is shorter than, say, on like a Dash 9, and that is correct. Dash 8s and Dash 7s, they had smaller stacks, apart from the B36-7, which we did look at, we will be looking at in 2 weeks. But anyway, moving on here, you can see the lovely, great detail. And I also forgot to mention this, but there's a little grab iron right here. Actually, let's see if it's moving. There you go. There it is. You can see it just right there. All right, so now what everybody's been waiting for, let's get into the sound demo portion of this video. Alrighty, so as you can see, we have the locomotive on the test track. So let's go ahead and put power onto the rails. There we go. So, well, why isn't it on? That's right. So it sounds a little quiet, I'll be honest. But let's go ahead and turn the light on. So there is our front mounted headlight right there. F6 is the ditch lights. Now they're on. F1 is the bell. And that is making my ears ring, by the way. F2 is the horn. Alright, so you can see the ditch lights are flashing. And they will go up just like that. F5 is the marker lights. Maybe not. Let me see, are the real ones there? No, they're not. F5 made the headlight in the rear turn on for some reason. Let's see here. You know what? Let's just let's throw it into reverse. And let's just slowly work it a little bit forward, backwards here. Okay, easy does it. Okay, so let's just keep something in mind. There's a extended light. It takes a little while to get moving here, according to this, which is a bit of a problem. But you know what? It's fine. I can stop it if I have to. And I'll time it just like that. So make sure the ditch lights go off here. All right. Let's turn off our headlight here, and let's turn off our ditch lights here. And now, will the locomotive actually turn on? Indeed it will. All right. And now let's move on to my final thoughts. All right, so I have to give this locomotive a solid A. Would give it an A+ if it wasn't for a grate on the top here that I had to glue back into place. After I pulled it out, I was a little disappointed in that. But apart from that, this thing has amazing detail. It looks great and it sounds great. I'm sure it will really run really well with the rest of what I'm going to put it with. But anyway, we will have to see in the future. But anyway, if you enjoyed, please hit that like button. Also subscribe if you have not, and hit that notification bell to know when I upload. I upload on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check in every week at that day and at that time to see what I have to upload next. Anyway, I will see you guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.